Hey everybody, I've been tagged by Toxic Tez to do her zombie apocalypse survival tag that she made up herself, and it's a very good tag. It looks like a lot of fun, so if you're watching this video right now and you feel the need to stick your face in front of a camera, by all means I tag you to do this as well. Something you may find a little bit hard to believe, for whatever reason. I don't actually like zombies. I never have. They're probably my least favourite supernatural creature, so as a result I haven't really ever watched any zombie movies or zombie TV shows. So trying to imagine what it would be like in a zombie apocalypse is actually quite a challenge for me. But I'll do my very best. There are people walking past. Now the point of this challenge is that you have to imagine that it's realistic. You have to be realistic and imagine that there is a zombie apocalypse basically happening suddenly where you actually are, and have to be realistic about your own abilities and skills and things that you actually have on hand. Actually think about what weapons are available to you should this actually happen, and would you be able to use them? Not like magical zombies, I guess, just the very standard sort of slow, stupid runs, you know, nothing special about them, I guess. Imagining if it were real life, what would you do in a non-fantasy world? If anything, I actually think that zombies are kind of sad, because they're just normal people. They're just people who have died and are being denied their eternal rest and being forced into this very undignified, gross afterlife. I just think that's kind of a sad thought, really. There are more people walking past. But it's a very good tag, it's a good idea, and I'm looking forward to giving it a go. So yeah, anyway, let's get started. On to the first question. The first question is, where would you set up camp? I'd like to think that I could set up camp in my home, because I don't like the idea of having to leave all my stuff. I'd like to think that I could set up camp at home where all my things are and where I feel safe. However, I live in the capital of the country, and it's quite, well, I guess compared to most cities in the world, it's pretty small, but it's, you know, it's quite a dense-ish population, and there are a lot of people around this area. And I guess the thing is, if people everywhere were turning into zombies, I guess the thing is you'd want to do would be to go somewhere less populated. Probably go down the coast somewhere to somewhere less populated, where there are, well, fewer people. The next question is, how would you survive there and what would you do for food? Well, if you're lucky enough to live in New Zealand, then you get the joy of living with the ever-present threat of earthquakes. You might think earthquakes happen once in a blue moon, but they actually happen here quite often, and I mean quite big ones that, you know, destroy cities, damage buildings, and horrible things like that. People who live in particularly seismic areas, if they don't, should have an earthquake survival kit stored away somewhere. I kind of do. So I mean, and this is things like, you know, basic sort of survival items, with like tinned food and dried food and that sort of thing, and you know, lots of water, because that's generally the first thing to go is water. So the idea of the earthquake survival kit is that if something bad happens, you can just grab your kit and go. To start with, I would take my earthquake survival kit. I think the most obvious thing to do would be to, you know, raid supermarkets, but of course everybody else who's surviving is going to do the same thing. So again, I'd go to a less populated area, sort of like a, one of those sort of large-ish suburbs down the coast somewhere, where there are supermarkets and not very many people. Obvious things like take tin food and non-perishable stuff like that. And I think probably a really good thing to take would be those sort of like things like Complan and Vitaplan, the things that are like meal replacements, because they have all the sort of vitamins and minerals and things you need if your diet isn't what it should be. I'd try and get my hands on as many of those sorts of things as possible. Next question is, how would you go on raids? Very fucking carefully is how I would go on raids. I would hopefully not be alone. Safety in numbers. I don't think you can really make plans in advance too much. Like, you can't really assess a situation until you're in it. So, you know, obviously bring as much protection and stuff as possible. Be extremely aware of what's going on around them. And that leads on to the next question, is what would you do for protection and weapons? Well, being realistic, again, but I don't know. I'm not I could fight it. I don't have any actual weapons in my house. Guns are legal in this country if you have a firearms license and own a rifle, but I don't have either of those things, and I don't really want to have either of those things. So, boo, I don't know, work with what you've got, right? Coat hanger kendo, knitting needle ninjutsu. I don't even have knitting needles. Deadly fast button knife action, deadly throwing cushion, stream gumboot toss. Oh, I don't even have gumboots anymore. Drumstick nightmare. Candlestick, burn. Teapot, killing action. Stand back, I know origami. That kind of thing. Oh dear. I don't know, honestly, I'd be pretty screwed. I think a very good idea for a weapon is to sharpen the end of a broom handle. If you've got a wooden one, obviously, like, I'd chip it down, but I think maybe the only ones I have are plastic, so it would be a matter of cutting them into a nice point, which would be quite cool because then you could attack people from far away. I think, I guess you'd really want something that you could use to chop off legs. I'm assuming zombies are kind of soft and yucky, and it would obviously stop them from coming at you if you could chop off their legs from a bit of a distance. Ooh. I would have to make use of the not many kitchen knives I have and probably fashion some sort of stupid looking weapon. I've heard a few people say now that a good idea is to have clothing that has like duct tape wrapped on it, because, you know, teeth can't bite through duct tape. It sounds like a pretty sensible idea, and I have quite a supply of gaffer tape, so I'd be wearing some sort of gaffer tape outfit to stop zombies from being able to bite me. The last question is, how would you deal with other survivors? Well, the first thought that came to my head was when again, back to the earthquake thing, when I was in Christchurch for the very big earthquake that took down most of the city and killed a lot of people. A terrible, terrible situation. But what I really noticed was that the people who were around, there was this amazing sense of community spirit. You couldn't walk around without people just constantly asking you, are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need anything? And like giving you lifts places, and yeah, just like everybody was helping everybody out. Generally, New Zealanders are quite trusting people. It's something you really notice. Obviously, you have to be very careful, but I wouldn't go around being all like super defensive. Find some people and stick together with them and try and help others as much as possible. And I don't really think the zombies can actually live for that long, can they? I mean, eventually wouldn't they just like fall to pieces? Like, aren't they just rotting bodies? Like, wouldn't they just stop existing after a while? I think the thing would just be trying to keep yourself safe. Gosh, I really don't know. I really don't know. Obviously I haven't watched enough zombie movies to make a very good assessment of what I would do in such a situation. Never mind. Yeah, I think in conclusion, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm clearly unprepared and have no idea what I would actually do. So I guess I would probably just get eaten. Tra-la-la. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, hit that red button down below, subscribe to my channel. I put out 2 new videos every week, and that would be lovely if you would do that. And also visit me on Facebook, facebook.com/itisblackfriday. So thanks again, and I'll see you next time. And in the event of a zombie apocalypse, you know, don't let the zombies get you. Whatever. Bye.